to get started. Okay, so my name is David Burnham, and I'm one of the curriculum developers working on the AP Computer Science Principles courses. Today, we're going to take our first look at the AP CSP in Python beta. So let's see what we're going to cover. Okay, so we're going to start off by talking about some of the changes that College Board made to the 2020-2021 curriculum. So these were changes that came from College Board and are reflected in both of our courses, including this course here. So from there, we're going to dive into a course overview, who the course is for, and some of the changes from previous courses that we've offered. Then we're going to take a look at exactly how you can access some of the material. And then we're going to end the webinar with the Q&A section. So don't worry, hopefully all your questions will be answered by the end. So let's start by taking a look at some of the changes from College Board around the AP Computer Science curriculum. So as many of you are aware, there are several changes that have been made by College Board for the upcoming year. Perhaps the most notable is that there is no longer a submission for the Explore task. While students will not be submitting this, they'll still be working on stimulus-based questions. For example, they may have a document about how innovation, about an innovation and how it will need to respond to multiple choice questions around functions or the impact of that innovation. So as a result of this change as well, the scoring balance between multiple choice and the performance task has changed a little. So the create task now carries a little bit more weight and now needs to include the use of a list or other collection data. Additionally, there's some small changes to the framework that were made to better align with courses that colleges are now offering to offset the AP. So now let's take a deeper dive into our computer science principles in Python course. So the AP Computer Science Principles course is aligned to the new 2020-2021 framework. However, it's important to note that this course has not been endorsed by College Board just yet. So one thing to note is that we did design the course to be nearly identical to the JavaScript course. It's just written in Python. So we're going to take a closer look at what this means a little bit later on and how close we are aligned to our other course. So the format is similar to other courses at CodeHS, and very similar to our AP Computer Science Principles. It's mainly an online course with some supplemental offline content. Each module contains short videos, examples, exercises, as well as a variety of other tasks. The course was designed to be taught roughly over a full school year and prepare students to take the AP multiple choice test in May, as well as to submit the create performance task. So who is it for? So this is an AP level introductory computer science concepts course. What that means is that it's aimed at high school students that may not have had much prior knowledge about computer science or programming. It is also important to mention that it's a concepts class. While there are some programming basics covered in the course, students that are looking for a pure programming class may be disappointed. It is intended to be an alternate to our AP, CSP, and JavaScript course, so students should not take both courses. They're very similar. So like our previous course, students will have a chance to learn to code using a Carol module. Carol has been translated into Python by incorporating both the syntax as well as using snakecase or underscores, which is the convention in Python. We also continue to use various internet simulators, and we explore digital representations of data using our bit editor. So if you've taught our AP CSP course in previous years, you'll notice a few changes in the modules in this year's version, including the Python version. First, we've removed the web development module from the start of the course. We now start with our Carol module. We balance this by adding several different graphics models, including lessons on event-driven programming, showing students how to add things like mouse click events and keyboard events to their graphic programs. We've also split out performance tasks to be a separate module as opposed to the last lesson in a module. It's important to note that even though Explore tasks are not required for submission, they are still a required part of the curriculum and still included in our course. So the AP Computer Science Principles course is broken into 8 main modules. As mentioned earlier, the course starts off with our Introduction to Programming module with Carol. From there, we get into the basics of Python, including exploring some Python graphics with tkinter. We continue to look take a deeper dive into control structures and other more advanced concepts, including functions with both input and return variables. So the last main programming unit focuses on basic data structures, or Python lists and tuples. Students will explore how to create and manipulate lists. Of all the units in the course, the basic data structures is the one that is most different from our JavaScript course. Python uses objects like tuples alongside arrays, and we wanted to make sure we cover these in a way that's not covered in our JavaScript course. So from there, the focus of the course shifts to more conceptual concepts, including how digital information is stored, how the internet works, and various tools for how we can store and display large amounts of data. In addition to our main concept modules, you'll also see modules with various performance tasks. Some of these modules are designed to help you meet the Explore task requirements, while others are more programming centric and will help students prepare for the Create task. So as I previously mentioned, our AP CSP in Python course has been designed to match the JavaScript course. Nearly all examples and exercises you see in the JavaScript course, you'll also see in the Python course. The one exception, like I said earlier, is the data structures unit, where we use some content from the Python 3 course in addition to some of the content from our JavaScript course. And the main difference there is really wanting to cover the tuples in a way that wasn't really set up in our JavaScript course. So keep in mind that AP Computer Science Principles is in Python course covers a lot of this similar, in JavaScript course covers a lot of the similar material of our Computer Science in JavaScript course. So that means if you did take an Introduction to Computer Science in JavaScript course, and then you wanted to follow that up with the AP CSP in Python course, you're going to find a lot of similarities between those two as well. So let's take a look at some demos. So students will apply some basic concepts of functions and parameters in an interactive way using event-driven programming. The AP Computer Science Principle course explores the basics of both click-based and key-based interactions in our Python tkinter graphics environment. So we also explore, students will have a chance to explore different simulators using our phishing simulator. Now let's take a look at how we can access material. So this course is in beta, which means that, that we do not have full access yet and you cannot create sections. However, you can access the material and see all the student-facing material through this link here, through the codehs.com/apcsp_python/start. Or you can also enter a class code to join the course beta using the class code E1DB or D5B. So our planned full release for the course is July, and once we have a full release for the course, you'll be able to start to create sections for your students. So you can also view the course syllabus by going to codehs.com/syllabus8066 or for the link in the course catalog page. The current syllabus is the same as the JavaScript syllabus, and there are a few references to JavaScript. However, the content is basically the same for this class. You can also get an overview of the course by checking out the marketing page found at codehs.com/info/curriculum/APCSP Python. Now let's talk a little bit about the teacher testing group and how you can get involved since this is a beta launch. So what is the teacher testing group? Well, we're always looking to be sure that all the materials we provide to teachers and students are highly effective, informative, and fun. In order to be sure of that, we'd like to connect with teachers that expect to use this course with their students on a more individual level and giving you a chance to be heard. We understand that the commitment levels and available time frames may vary greatly depending on your situation, so we have multiple ways to get involved. Testers can be given access to our feedback system where comments and suggestions can be left on individual items as you go through the course, or you can choose to be a part of phone calls with CodeHS developers and other testers. And we'll send this link out afterwards, but you can take a survey if you are interested in getting involved. So you fill out the survey, and this has a couple different options as far as what you may be willing to do to help out. And if you are just willing to just provide individual feedback, that's fine. And we can provide you a form that allows you to do that in an easy manner using our feedback star. So thanks in advance for considering this, and hopefully if you have any questions about that, we can help answer those as well. So now that's the course overview. I want to see if we have some questions. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them in the Q&A section in Zoom.
Great. So we don't have any questions right now, but Dave, maybe you can put up the slide about the PD opportunities that we have this summer. And if people have questions, feel free to submit through the Q&A tab.
Okay. Sounds good. So yeah, we do have some free PD workshops coming up. A couple of them that you may be interested in is on Monday, July 6th, we have an AP CSA workshop from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern time, or 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific time. We also have one specific to the AP CSP content, and that is going to be on Monday, July 20th from 9 a.m. to 11 Pacific time and noon to 2 p.m. Eastern time. This is just a small sampling of the workshops we do offer. You can find all of them at codehs.com/info/pd/free workshops. And these workshops, we've had some questions about these. These are going to really kind of be specific to the content. If you are a new teacher to CodeHS and want to know how to set up classes and things like that, we won't necessarily cover that here, but there are other free workshops where we will cover that. So feel free to check out all of our workshops. You can find the list of them there, and you can also register on that website.
Awesome. We have a few questions coming in. So one is from Andrew. So students taking AP CSP in the fall have already worked through the programming with Carol unit, the hour of code, for the technology exploration class. Is it worth repeating the Carol for Python module? So I would say if they've done the full unit, then I would say not necessarily. You might be able to just shorten it a bit. I still think it might be helpful to ease students in with Carol during the start of the school year, but maybe you can cut out some of the beginning lessons.
Yeah, and make sure too that the Carol that we have goes all the way through Super Carol and Ultra Carol, where we then use Ultra Carol in a pair programming performance task as unit 2. And so you may want to start towards the end of Carol and review Ultra Carol, and then kind of get into that performance task is a great place to start.
Awesome. We had a question, is the pacing for the new AP CSP course different now that the create task has to include lists? So yes, the pacing is pretty different, and we have altered our programming portion of the AP CSP course because we want to make sure students are getting that extra practice before they take on the create performance task. Dave, how does the AP CSP Python course compare to the existing Introduction to Computer Science and Python course that we have?
Yes, that's a good question. So we did make this course to be similar to our JavaScript course, which means that it is actually somewhat different than our Intro to CS in Python course. So if students have taken that intro course, they'll probably know most of the Python that they need to know, but a lot of the exercises will be different. The one place where we start to kind of blend in some of those Intro to CS and Python exercises is in that basic data structures section, where the content is really different from our JavaScript course.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. Then we did have a question. Do you know when in July the full release will be out? So actually, yes, we did set that. This isn't public anywhere yet, but we will be releasing this course, will be out the week after the 4th of July, so the week of July 6th. Do you have any other questions? We can hang out for a few more minutes, but if people have had all their questions answered, then thank you so much for attending, and have a great rest of your day. Great. We had a question. If we were to recommend one AP CSP course, would it be JavaScript or Python? I would say it really does depend. If you have, basically, I would say if you're comfortable with one language over the other, if you're more comfortable, I would suggest going with that just because you'll be able to support your students a lot better. In terms of like the two courses, I will say, you know, our AP CSP JavaScript course is a few years older, even though we did do a bit of editing for the 2020 course. It's still like the existing course that we used as like the model, has been out for a few years. We do make revisions and improvements to our courses every year. So, you know, full kind of transparency here is that like the AP CSP JavaScript course has gone through more testing and revisions. So I would say in terms of quality, you might see a slight difference there. But I would say the biggest thing is you as a teacher, what are you more comfortable with and what is your preference?
Yeah, and I'd also add a little bit to say, you know, you can look at what kind of students you have. If you have a bunch of students that are planning on continuing into computer science in college, Python is typically one of the first languages that colleges talk about. If you have a bunch of underclassmen that might be continuing into AP CSA, then you might find JavaScript to be a little bit more of a launch language into the Java language afterwards. So it just kind of depends a little bit too on the student group that you have and you know, how you're teaching it to them. Which part did you want me to repeat? Yeah, the Python to college. So again, it depends. Like, you know, I'm here in Maryland, and one of the first languages for introductory students in Maryland, in the Maryland schools, colleges, is Python. So they start off in Python. So if I had a bunch of kids in my class that were juniors and seniors, and they were thinking about being computer science majors, I may choose the Python course for that because it kind of launches them in that. But it just really kind of depends a little bit on where you're located and the students that you have. It does kind of vary, but Python is an introductory language to you know, the first language taught in a lot of colleges.
Definitely. We had a question, would you recommend allowing students to learn from both in one classroom, or would you say the entire class on one? I would really recommend just choosing one and having your entire class on one language. Reason being, you know, if there's a sticking point in one language, it just might be hard to support two languages in one class. I have seen classrooms where they'll do all of the instruction in one language, and then students who are interested might do some extra work on the side to like pick up a different language. But yeah, for the most part, I would say I would not recommend splitting up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if JavaScript's not as popular in college. It's just not necessarily the first language taught, is my understanding. And I'm not an expert, and I think it does depend on where you go to school. But from my understanding is Python typically is one of the first languages, and Java as well.
I think it's a pretty even split between Java and Python for college introductory courses.
Yeah. And I'm sure depending on what you're doing in college, you'll get into a lot more JavaScript versus Python. It's just more, you know, where would you start necessarily?
Mm-hmm. And I will say, I think a lot of, a lot of the principles that students are learning, they're not language specific, especially in AP CSP. These are all very universal concepts. So, while it is helpful to become familiar with the syntax of one, if you're going to be using it a lot, that's pretty easy to pick up relative to, actually understanding these bigger principles.
Yeah, and CSP doesn't really get too far into any of the languages either. It's
Yeah,
just,
you're not getting any kind of like language specific features.
yeah, you're just really scratching the surface.
Um, in terms of what's a better feeder course for CSA, I will say JavaScript is it is slightly more similar in terms of syntax. I think both work though. Just like we were saying, the syntax is pretty easy to pick up. Um, it's more of these kind of like larger principles that either course is going to teach you or either language is going to teach you.